All right, what's going on, guys? Dan Watson here, and this is a video I've been meaning to make for a while now, but three things have kind of made this the perfect time. And that one is that I've actually had this camera for 1 year now. So this is kind of the official 1 year later review of what has changed in my using this camera, firmware updates, lenses. A lot has changed with this. Second, the price. I just got an email saying the price is on a crazy sale right now. So all of this is just ridiculous. Hundreds of dollars off with memory cards and adapters and everything like that that you could need to get started with this. So you can check out the links if you want to for that sale. And then three, I have been shooting with this camera almost exclusively for like 3 months. But if you know a lot of my gear, you've probably seen it dominated with Sony cameras and a lot of that because that's what I have been shooting on for the last few years. Well, actually pretty much every project I have used in the last 3 months, including like Iceland, this is what I took. These were my primary cameras that I took with this. So this isn't a sponsored review or anything. So we're going to talk about some of the reasons that I have changed to this camera or been using it for the last couple of months. Some of the things that you should know about if you're planning to do the same. It's not all perfect though. There are a couple of things that you'll want to know. So we'll talk about that as well. It might not be perfect for everyone. So probably the most important is going to be image quality because that's honestly, I have a lot of cameras here. That's really the driving reason that I'm going to be picking one out to use on my projects. The Nikon Z6 is a 24 megapixel sensor. It is among, if not the best that you can get as far as image quality, amazing dynamic range, amazing low light performance. So overall, it's just a great, the colors look great on this. Probably not my favorite for colors, but probably second on that. Although for video, it's kind of a different story there. And on the video side, because we're talking kind of the best hybrid camera here, for video, you do have amazing video quality. Again, this is 6K sensor oversampled to 4K like you would see on a Sony, better than what you would see on a Canon. And we're getting amazing quality, 4K up to 30 frames per second, 1080p up to 120, although there are some issues there, which we'll talk about in the video section. But overall, some of the best image quality you can get on any camera. Now, once you've started using the camera, I think the ergonomics make a bigger deal. So while I have been shooting with a lot of these cameras, they can kind of make you fall out of love with them if it's not a camera that you enjoy using. And I have to say, while not quite my favorite, the Nikon Z6 is amazing in most areas. The things that you interact with the most are going to be that viewfinder and the screen. This is a 3.2 inch LCD screen, touch screen across everything, so you can get and access all of your functions crazy easy. This is also one of the best viewfinders on the market right now. Super high resolution. I think 2 million pixels on the screen and then 3 point something for the viewfinder. Again, better than what you would see on like an A7 III. You would have to go into higher end cameras to get a viewfinder and a screen that good. And then as far as general ergonomics, I will say that from switching between photo and video, having custom settings for both, one of the quickest, simply a dial on the back, bam, I'm in video, I'm shooting all of my custom settings. If I click my eye menu, it is completely different for video and photo. If I pop that into photo mode, again, instantly all my eye menu has changed to exactly what I want. So this is a very easy camera to go from video and photo. The only downside I would say on the ergonomics, these two custom buttons right here, they're great if you have the camera in your hand. A lot of the time I'm shooting off of a gimbal, which means that these two custom function buttons are pretty much useless to me. So I have them programmed to like white balance and other stuff. So stuff I can change through the eye menu and through a bunch of other ways of getting through them. But it would be nice if those custom function buttons were easier to reach if the camera is not in your hand. So if you watched our review on the camera, one of the big kind of negatives was going to be the focus system. And thankfully, it has changed. It has been upgraded. We have autofocus. We have a bunch of other features in this camera. I will say it's still not the greatest. I would put it probably second or third as far as the cameras go in this price range. Probably right after Sony, possibly after Canon, but right in that range. Definitely better than what you can get from Panasonic, and certainly good enough for most areas. So if you're using autofocus, it works very well. I find that it doesn't get confused very easily. It is great on this camera. However, it only works in the wide mode. So it can be a little bit limiting into how you use it. If you have groups of people, you have to start switching between people. I like that Sony cameras, you can basically pick any focus mode and the eye autofocus will work within that. Same thing is true for video. So I am actually recording this on the Nikon Z7, Z6 over here using full autofocus. Again, it's really only going to work with eye detection, face detection in that wide mode. I'd love to be able to just stick to that center area and then have it look within that area, because I know nothing is ever going to go out in these areas, so I don't want it to ever be confused. It really sticks to me. So it is one of the best autofocus cameras in the wide view mode. However, I wish it had some expansion onto some of that. Again, for like 90 to 95% of the stuff I shoot, it has never been an issue. For videos like this, it is amazing. All my self-shooting YouTube videos are shot with autofocus on using the Z6, Z7. It has never let me down in that. However, it could be better, and I hope they do improve it, and it is not quite up to what some of the competition can do. And when I got the camera in, one of the things that was limiting was going to be lenses. So we had a 24-70 f4, and then we also had a 35mm and a 50mm prime that came out pretty much exactly when the camera was released. So fairly limiting on that. The primes are 1.8, which means that they're not exactly amazing pro-end camera lenses, but they fit the Z6 very well, being a kind of mid-price, below $2,000 body. You probably don't want to spend $2,000 to $3,000 on a lens. So very fitting to that. Well, since then, I have a 24-70 f2.8 that's recording from this angle. I have an 85 1.8, and then I have their wide angle 14-30, which I actually took a lot to Iceland because look how compact this is. It goes right like that, and this is amazingly small and giving you that super wide angle 14mm on that range. So really cool lenses, and these are stabilized by the body, so there's no image stabilization here. However, the camera does have image stabilization, and that image stabilization works a little bit better than Sony cameras, and then Nikon or Canon doesn't have any image stabilization inside their body right now. So one of the best image stabilizations, period, other than probably Panasonic. And so overall, getting these lenses with this camera, keeping the kit extremely compact, and it gets me pretty much 90% of what I need, if not more. Now they do have the adapter if you need to get Nikon's other lenses for like a 70-200 or some of your longer lenses. Those will still need the adapter. The adapter works really well in photo and video, so no issues using those other F-series lenses on this camera if you need to. In fact, when we took it to Iceland, we were actually shooting with the adapter and the Tamron 35-1 50mm f2.8 to f4. It just came out. You should really check out that video actually. And that had no issues as well using the Z6. So even those Tamron lenses with the adapter worked perfectly. So now I think the lens situation is going to be good enough for most people, especially if you're not wanting to spend $5,000, $10,000 on lenses. It's a great setup. And then also if you want to keep things pretty compact and light, these lenses are going to do it for you, but still offer some pretty good quality. Now, the key to any hybrid camera is also being able to shoot video, and that is a lot of what I do. So video is very important to me because a lot of the channel, this is a YouTube channel, I'm shooting a ton of video. Even if I shoot photos personally for me or for my Instagram, I have to produce a video with it. So all of my cameras need to be hybrid cameras capable of shooting really good quality video. Happy to report that that is true. Either going full frame or the crop mode, both are great. You can use both modes all the time. If you're shooting 120 frames per second, it is a bit limited and you do have a mandatory crop when shooting the 120. Other than that, all your lenses and all your basically settings are going to be good in both full frame mode or in the crop to get some additional reach, either one. And on the Z6, it is 6K oversample to 4K, 30 frames per second, 1080p all the way to 120. And everything is very good quality across it. You have all your settings you would want. You have focus peaking, you have zebras, you have all of that stuff, video features. You also have log, and you also have a flat profile, which is my favorite. This flat profile is amazing. I'm shooting on it right now. It is an incredibly easy format to grade. I can just pop some contrast, some color. I can get the look that I want. It doesn't mess with your skin tones or colors. They stay true no matter what you're doing. And so, yeah, it is my favorite profile to shoot with. I wish every camera had this flat but not log profile. You can shoot log if you do need to. And then also the big secret here, you have 422, you have 10-bit out of this camera into an external recorder like an Atomos, Shogun, or something like that. Ninja V is the one that I use. And so you can shoot higher quality video with 10-bit than you can on like Canon or on Sony right now. So one of the best video cameras. RAW support is also on the way with an update to the camera, actual physical update. And so you have to send out the camera. So it's a little bit not perfect, but you can get RAW output to an external recorder coming soon for this camera. So when it comes to overall video, I think this is one of the best on the market. You are also utilizing that IBIS, so the image stabilization is amazing on this. Again, probably second only to Panasonic. So overall, one of my favorite video cameras to use. But like I said, not everything is perfect here. So the focus system, again, is going to be not the best. I think it needs to be improved. It's not perfect in every circumstance. I think sports and wildlife shooters are going to notice it the most. Portrait shooters, you should be great with this camera. And then also video shooters, it works great in most areas. And then also the touchscreen interaction with the focus system is also amazing. So being able to just tap on your subject, have it track is very easy to use. And so again, one of the best implementations there that I have seen. And then the other kind of negative here is that you're using XQD cards, which are not the cheapest cards in the world, but they are also a little bit harder to find. So I don't have one in this camera right here because I'm recording on those two. But once you get used to it, it is one of the best, most stable formats in any camera. It's also a single card, which doesn't matter too much on the Z6, but if you're shooting a lot of pro-end stuff, you might miss that a bit. Thankfully, that XQD card is one of the best around. It is super high speed, incredibly reliable. So I think if you're a video shooter, it's actually one of the best formats to shoot with. And then one thing I've noticed is that since this is the only camera that has an XQD card, it means that I'm never mixing up my SD cards in multiple cameras, which is kind of one of the best ways to have a card error, is to be using it in multiple cameras. So basically, it is only being used in my Nikon Z6 and Z7, and that helps a little bit on that. But yes, it is one of the negatives with this camera and stuff that you'll need to get over. So this camera right now is listed for $16.99, including the adapter and including the memory card and just a couple other things in this kit. That is a steal. You will not find anything better on the market that is a full frame with this kind of quality for this kind of price range. Again, I really think that having this out for a year and all of these updates, again with that price drop, is going to make this an incredible camera. I have been personally shooting with it for months. So if you like any of the stuff that I have been shooting with, this is the camera that I have been using. I'll probably update my gear link soon, but you can check out my current stuff, including my best Nikon Z6 gear right in the link below. So check that out. Again, thanks for watching, guys. Please go check out some of the actual videos of me shooting with this camera. Hope you enjoyed this kind of update on my shooting choices, and I'll see you soon in a new video.